There is a type of attraction that doesn't need a single touch. It's more powerful than holding hands, more dangerous than a kiss, and more unforgettable than physical closeness. It's the kind of energy that lives in the air between two people, silent but impossible to ignore. A man who understands this can make a woman's heart race, her breath quicken, and her mind spiral with curiosity, all without even brushing his fingers against her skin. This is not about tricks or manipulation. It's about mastering the psychology of tension, the invisible pull that happens when desire builds up but never crosses the line. Think about it. What makes someone irresistible? It's rarely what they say or even what they do. It's the way they look at you a second too long. Their way silence stretches but feels charged. Their way their presence lingers even when they walk away. That's sexual tension, and when used right, it makes you unforgettable. If you want to know how a man can create this magnetic effect, stay until the end. Because once you learn this, you'll never see human attraction the same way again. Attraction often begins in silence, in the subtle currents that pass between two people when no one else notices. When a man wants to create deep tension with a woman without ever laying a finger on her, he has to understand that the mind reacts long before the body does. Our brains are wired to detect attention, to notice when someone is tuned into us with an intensity that others don't show. A simple glance, when held just a second longer than usual, can activate the same parts of the brain that respond to pleasure and risk. It's a quiet game, but one that triggers instincts far older than modern society itself. Psychologists have studied how people respond when they feel seen, not just looked at. There's a difference between the casual glance of a stranger and the focused, deliberate eye contact of someone who seems to understand you without speaking. Women in particular tend to pick up on micro-signals, tiny shifts in facial expression, the dilation of pupils, the slight delay before looking away. These details can raise her heartbeat before she even realizes what's happening. It's not the words that create the spark, but the unspoken language that travels straight into her subconscious. Think about the last time you felt drawn to someone without them ever touching you. Maybe it was the way they stood close enough that you noticed their presence, yet not close enough to invade your space. Maybe it was the way their voice dropped slightly lower when speaking to you, creating a rhythm that felt almost secret. These are signals our bodies pick up instantly. Studies in evolutionary psychology suggest that attraction is heightened by uncertainty. The moment you are not sure what the other person will do next, your attention locks in and your emotions intensify. The same principle is what makes suspenseful movies so gripping. Your brain craves the resolution but stays addicted to the build-up. A man who understands this doesn't rush to close the gap. He lets the silence do part of the work. He knows that stillness can be louder than words, and distance can be more intimate than touch. When he listens more than he speaks, when he observes more than he reacts, the woman begins to feel that her guard is lowering without her realizing why. This is where the psychological edge lies. Tension is not about action, but about restraint. The less he does, the more she imagines. The more he withholds, the stronger her curiosity becomes. There is power in being able to make someone lean in without moving an inch, in letting the anticipation grow until the silence becomes electric. Once a man realizes that attraction is not about chasing but about pulling, not about control but about presence, he steps into a level of influence that few ever master. When a woman starts to feel a man's presence without his touch, her body begins to respond in ways that even she may not fully understand. Attraction often shows up in the smallest, almost invisible signs. Her voice softens when speaking to him, her breathing changes rhythm, her eyes linger just a moment longer than usual. These are biological reactions, not choices. The human nervous system is designed to mirror the energy of the person we are drawn to. If a man is calm, steady, and confident, she will unconsciously align her own rhythm with his. That's why silence, stillness, and careful observation can have a stronger effect than 1,000 rehearsed compliments. Research on nonverbal communication shows that over 70% of human interaction relies not on words but on body language and tone. A man who knows this doesn't try to dominate the conversation with endless talk. Instead, he creates space. He asks short, simple questions, then allows the quiet to stretch just long enough for her to feel the weight of his attention. That pause can be far more powerful than any witty remark, because it forces her to reflect, to notice the tension between the words unsaid. This pause is not emptiness, it's the silent stage where desire begins to grow. Every glance, every shift in posture, every second of eye contact builds a narrative in her mind. The key is not to rush that narrative. When a man avoids the urge to fill every silence, he leaves her wondering what he is thinking, what he might say next, and why his presence feels so different. This wondering is what makes attraction stronger. The brain loves puzzles, and when a man becomes slightly unpredictable, never too obvious, never too eager, he transforms into a puzzle she can't stop trying to solve. Consider how powerful this becomes in real-life settings. Picture two men at a social gathering. One man tries hard to impress, speaking loudly, telling stories, always trying to capture attention. The other man stays quiet, observing, speaking only when it adds something meaningful. The first man entertains, but the second man creates gravity. Women may laugh at the loud one, but their curiosity lingers on the quiet one who seems to carry a hidden depth. Silence doesn't mean lack of confidence, it means control. It means he doesn't feel the need to prove himself, and that restraint alone makes her lean in, wondering what lies beneath his calm exterior. The psychology behind this is simple: what is scarce feels more valuable. When a man withholds constant attention, when he chooses carefully when to look, when to smile, when to speak, each small action takes on greater meaning. She feels every gesture more intensely because it doesn't come all at once. That is how tension is built, by letting her imagination do half the work. The most powerful desire is not forced upon someone, it's sparked within them, until they begin chasing the source of it themselves. There is a reason why the most unforgettable moments between two people often happen without a single touch. The mind is always faster than the body, and desire begins in the imagination long before it ever becomes physical. When a man knows how to create that spark, he doesn't need to rush toward closeness, he lets her own thoughts do the heavy lifting. Studies in psychology show that anticipation often feels stronger than the actual experience itself. The build-up, the guessing, the not knowing exactly what will happen next, this is what makes the heart beat faster. A man who understands this doesn't give everything away at once. He uses eye contact, pauses, and subtle shifts in tone to awaken a woman's curiosity, so that she starts to fill in the blanks with her own fantasies. Think about how a simple look can carry layers of meaning. When a man holds eye contact just long enough to make her feel seen but looks away before it becomes too heavy, he creates a flicker of tension. The human brain releases dopamine when faced with uncertainty, and that small rush can feel addictive. She begins to wonder what he is thinking, why he looked away, and if he will look back again. This constant guessing fuels desire more than any direct compliment ever could. It is not about being cold or distant, it is about giving her space to lean in and meet him halfway. Voice, too, plays a hidden role in this silent game. A steady, calm voice lowers her guard, while a sudden drop in tone can trigger a physical reaction she doesn't consciously control. Our bodies are wired to respond to subtle changes in sound, especially when they come from someone we feel drawn to. A man who lowers his voice at the right moment doesn't just speak words, he creates a vibration that she feels in her chest, a sensation that lingers even after the conversation ends. Without even realizing it, her body connects that sound with safety and attraction. Real-life examples reveal this truth. Many women describe their strongest moments of attraction not in the middle of passionate gestures but in the quiet exchanges, the way he leaned close to whisper something, the brief silence after a shared laugh, or the tension in the air when they sat next to each other without speaking. These small moments carry weight because they awaken a deep part of the mind that craves mystery. If every move is predictable, desire fades. But when a man knows how to balance closeness with restraint, he makes her imagination restless. She begins to look for his signals, replay his gestures in her mind, and anticipate the next encounter. This is the secret layer of tension: it doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't overwhelm, it pulls her in. The most magnetic men aren't the ones who talk the loudest or touch the quickest, they are the ones who know how to leave space, how to let silence breathe, and how to make a woman feel like something is about to happen, even when nothing has happened yet. The fascinating thing about tension is that it doesn't grow in chaos, it grows in control. When a man knows how to control his own impulses, his silence becomes louder than any words he could speak. Women are naturally intuitive, they notice the little things others ignore. If a man rushes, if he tries too hard to impress, she senses it instantly, and the mystery is broken. But when he holds back, when he listens more than he speaks, when he waits just long enough before answering her question, she feels the pull of his restraint. That restraint suggests strength, and strength is deeply attractive. In fact, psychological research shows that people are more drawn to those who remain slightly unpredictable, because uncertainty triggers the brain to pay closer attention. Think about how a pause in conversation can shift the atmosphere. If everything is filled with constant talking, there is no room for her to wonder. But if he allows silence to stretch, not in an awkward way, but in a confident, relaxed way, she starts to lean into that space. Her thoughts begin racing, asking what he is thinking, what he might say next, or whether he is feeling the same spark she is. This mental guessing game is not just emotional, it's physical. Studies on anticipation show that heart rate, breathing, and even skin sensitivity rise in moments of suspense. By using silence correctly, a man isn't pushing, he is allowing her own body to work against her, pulling her deeper into the moment without her realizing it. It's not only about silence in speech but also in action. A man who doesn't react too quickly creates an air of mystery. For example, when she tells a playful story expecting him to laugh loudly, but instead he just smiles slowly and holds her gaze, the lack of reaction carries more weight than any big display could. That gap makes her mind search for meaning. Does he find her charming? Is he teasing her back in his own way? That searching is the essence of tension. A woman doesn't want everything handed to her on a silver plate. Part of desire comes from piecing things together, from feeling that she is uncovering layers that not everyone gets to see. Real-life situations prove this often. Think about couples who remember their first date. The most memorable moments are rarely the loudest jokes or grand gestures, they are the quiet pauses, the way hands almost touched but didn't, the silence between shared glances. Those moments live longer in memory because they left questions unanswered, and unanswered questions fuel attraction more than certainty ever could. When a man learns this, he doesn't fear silence, he embraces it. He lets the quiet moments carry meaning. He uses pauses like a painter uses shadows, not to cover the picture but to give it depth. Every small restraint makes her lean forward, makes her want to break the silence herself, makes her wonder what will come next. And in that wondering, desire quietly builds, without him saying a single word. What makes this entire process powerful is that it leaves her with a feeling she cannot easily explain. A man who uses silence, controlled eye contact, and subtle restraint plants emotions that sink deeper than words ever could. She may not remember every sentence he spoke, but she will remember the way her heart raced when his eyes lingered on hers without breaking. She will remember the electricity in the air when he paused, the way time seemed to slow for just a second. That kind of memory is not intellectual, it is sensory, emotional, and chemical. The brain releases dopamine during moments of suspense, rewarding us not for the outcome, but for the anticipation itself. This is why tension without touch can feel stronger than any physical gesture. It is her own brain tricking her into craving more. But here lies the darker truth, most men rush to destroy that buildup. They try to close the gap too fast, to force desire with words or actions, and in doing so, they collapse the very tension that was making her drawn in. The man who understands this holds back, not out of fear, but out of mastery. He knows that the silence, the unsaid, the almost but not yet, carries more weight than the obvious. This doesn't mean he is passive, it means he is deliberate. He chooses when to step forward, when to lean back, and most importantly, when to let her come closer on her own. Consider how attraction often begins. A woman notices a man not because he is the loudest in the room, but because he is the one who seems unaffected, the one who doesn't need to chase approval. His stillness makes her curious, his calmness makes her feel safe, and his lack of urgency makes her wonder what kind of man he really is. Over time, these small psychological signals become impossible to ignore. She starts reading into every glance, every pause, every unfinished smile. And soon, she finds herself thinking about him when he's not around, replaying those silent moments in her mind. That is the essence of creating desire without touch. It doesn't end when he leaves, it lingers like a shadow in her thoughts. The deeper layer to this is that sexual tension is not just about attraction, it is about control of the environment. A man who knows how to use silence isn't just making her blush, he is shaping how she experiences time with him. He turns ordinary conversations into something charged, he makes small moments feel significant, and he creates an atmosphere that she cannot find anywhere else. That atmosphere is addictive. It's why she'll want to be near him again, to chase that feeling, to unravel the mystery he leaves behind. In the end, the trick is not really a trick at all. It is the discipline of letting silence speak, the patience to allow tension to grow, and the awareness that what is left unsaid can be louder than what is spoken. A man who understands this doesn't have to force a woman to want him, he makes her want to close the space herself. That is how tension becomes irresistible, and that is how desire begins, without a single touch.